She stood quietly at the edge of the tarmac, a small duffel bag in hand, dressed in plain clothes and worn-out shoes. The heat bounced off the concrete, and the sound of roaring jet engines filled the air. Soldiers marched by, officers barked orders, and planes took off one after another. In the middle of all this, she looked completely out of place, just a simple woman trying to blend into a world that clearly didn't welcome her. When she approached the guard at the gate of the military jet, she was met with suspicion and a firm shake of the head. "This aircraft is for authorized personnel only," he snapped, barely giving her a second glance. No one knew her name. No one cared to ask why she was there. To them, she was just another civilian trying to get somewhere she didn't belong. But she didn't argue. She just nodded politely and stepped back, standing silently near the edge as others continued. Too bored, she could have walked away, but she didn't. Something about her presence felt different, unspoken, unseen. That's when the general appeared. His uniform was sharp, his eyes sharper. As he scanned the area, something about the woman made him stop. His gaze dropped to the edge of her sleeve, where a faint scar ran down her forearm. It was old, faded, but unmistakable. In a flash, the expression on his face changed, from neutral to stunned. He stepped forward, brushing past soldiers without a word, and approached her directly. Who was she? And what secret did that scar hold that could stop a four-star general in his tracks? What happened next left everyone speechless, especially the soldiers who had just turned her away. The jet engines still roared behind them, but now all eyes were on her and the mystery she carried. The general stopped just a few steps in front of her, his eyes locked on the scar. For a moment, it was like the noise around them faded. He didn't say anything right away. Neither did she. It was as if they both recognized something unspoken, something heavy. Then, finally, he asked softly, "Where did you get that?" His voice had none of the sharpness it usually carried. It was almost personal. She hesitated, then pulled back her sleeve just enough for the full scar to show. Long, curved, and faded, it ran across her forearm like a forgotten story. "Kandahar," she said quietly. The general's face shifted again, this time with something close to disbelief. "What's your name?" he asked. Her voice was calm, steady. "Lena." No last name. No explanation. The soldiers nearby exchanged confused looks. Who was this woman? Kandahar wasn't just any place, it was one of the most dangerous battle zones during the height of the conflict. The kind of place only elite soldiers, medics, and high-level operatives were sent. And yet this woman, with no ID, no rank, and no apparent connection to the military, had just spoken the name like a buried truth. The general stood still, clearly trying to piece something together. His expression turned thoughtful, most haunted. "You were with Charlie Unit?" he asked suddenly. Lena gave a slight nod. That one answer was enough to make the general's shoulders stiffen. Charlie Unit. The name still echoed through classified reports and hushed conversations. It was a team that had gone dark during one of the bloodiest missions, presumed lost with no survivors. And now, here stood a woman claiming to be part of it years later, without a trace of her ever existing. On paper, what was she doing here now? Why return, and why like this? The answers weren't clear yet. But one thing was, nothing about this woman was simple. The general's eyes never left Lena as he took a slow step closer. Around them, the busy airport seemed to fade further into the background, but the weight of what she represented grew heavier. "You understand, this isn't just about a scar or a forgotten mission," he said quietly. Charlie Unit, they were classified, erased from records for a reason. His voice lowered, almost like a warning. "Coming here, exposing yourself, there are people who won't want this to come out." Lena's face remained calm, but inside, a storm was brewing. She had spent years in the shadows, carrying memories most would rather forget. The war, the loss, the secrets that were buried deep beneath layers of silence. But now, she had a choice: stay hidden or confront the past head-on. And something told her the past wasn't done with her yet. Meanwhile, the soldiers around them whispered quietly, their curiosity growing. Some recognized the general's unusual behavior. Others speculated who Lena might really be. One of the younger officers glanced nervously at the jet, wondering if she was about to board or be turned away again. But the general made no move to dismiss her. Instead, he pulled out his phone, typing a quick message that would ripple far beyond this moment. Elsewhere, back at the military base, questions were already spreading. Whispers of a ghost from a lost mission. Was this woman a survivor or something else entirely? The intelligence officers were already digging through files, searching for anything that matched Lena's name or the lack of it. Meanwhile, on the civilian side, rumors started to spread that someone had returned from a mission everyone thought had ended in tragedy. And with those rumors came the danger of secrets unraveling. Lena herself knew the risk. She wasn't just fighting for entry onto that jet anymore. She was fighting to bring truth to light, truth that powerful forces wanted to keep buried. But as the general looked at her with a mix of respect and caution, the question lingered. Was she ready for what would come next? The tension between Lena and the general was almost tangible as the minutes stretched on. Around them, the hum of the military base carried on, but neither could focus on anything else. The general's phone buzzed once, then twice, messages flying back and forth from unseen contacts who clearly understood the gravity of the situation. Lena's heart pounded, but she held her ground, knowing that backing down now would mean losing everything she had fought for. Suddenly, a sharp voice broke through the quiet. "General, you need to clear the area." A young officer approached, eyes flicking nervously between Lena and the commanding officer. The warning was clear: what Lena carried was dangerous, and those in control wanted to keep the situation contained. But the general shook his head, his expression hardening. "No," he said firmly. "She stays." Lena felt the weight of dozens of stares, some questioning, some hostile. She knew there were unseen eyes watching from the shadows, waiting for her to slip up or be exposed as a threat. But there was more at stake than her own safety. If what she knew came to light, it could change everything about the way the military and the world saw that lost mission. It could rewrite history. And that scared more than a few powerful people. The general glanced at her again, his voice low. "There are names tied to your story that can't be mentioned. Allies, enemies. You're risking more than you realize." Lena met his gaze without flinching. "I've been silent for too long," she said. "If the truth stays buried, the scars will never heal." As a sudden announcement called for immediate departure, the soldiers around them began moving toward the jet. But the general held up a hand. Wait. The seconds felt like hours as they both stood there on the edge of revelation, on the brink of chaos. The air was thick with anticipation. What would happen when the secrets of Charlie Unit were finally unleashed, and who would survive the fallout? Just as the tension seemed unbearable, the general's phone buzzed again, this time with an urgent message that made his face pale. He glanced at the screen, then back at Lena, eyes wide, with something between shock and dread. "There's been a breach," he said quietly, almost too low to hear. "Someone has accessed classified files about Charlie Unit." From inside the base, Lena's breath caught. This wasn't just about her anymore. The secrets she carried were no longer buried in silence. They were being exposed, and fast. "Who?" she asked, voice steady but sharp. The general hesitated, then shook his head. "We don't know. But whoever it is, they're dangerous, and they might be closer than we think." Around them, soldiers moved with renewed urgency, scanning faces, checking IDs, tightening security. The calm order of the military base shattered like glass. The general looked back at Lena, his expression a mix of regret and determination. You came here to reveal the truth, but now that truth could cost lives, yours included. Suddenly, a commotion broke out near the entrance. An alarm blared, and voices shouted warnings. Lena caught a glimpse of a figure slipping through. A side gate, a shadow disappearing into the growing chaos. The plot was no longer just about her survival or the lost mission. It was about stopping whoever wanted to bury the past by any means necessary. As the general barked orders and soldiers scrambled to respond, Lena realized the danger wasn't just in the secrets she carried, it was in the people desperate to keep those secrets hidden. The scar on her arm was more than a mark of survival. It was a sign that the battle was far from over. And now, with the military jet waiting and unknown enemies closing in, the stakes had never been higher. What would happen next could change everything for Lena, for the general, and for the truth that refused to stay silent.